let me introduce you myself first. I'm Mohammed Azhar, and I'm a web now hosting this event, Friends of Figma. For now, I'm currently working with Web3 Pakistan. That is an initiative to build Web3 community and to realize the potential of Web3 to our youth in Pakistan so that they may also contribute in impacting the world in Web3. And I'm also a Web3 content engineer at Investing at 25. Now, let me tell you more about this. Design plays an incredible important role in the uptake and adoption of Web3, and Friends of Figma is an initiative to realize the importance of this to our youth and to the public and create an impact. We will be focusing on the opportunities about the designing for Web3 with Batool Aamir. Now, I will just give you a short introduction about the Friends of Figma Lahore. This is our Lahore chapter, and I'm hosting this FOF Lahore as a way to bring folks together for sharing knowledge to discuss topics related to Figma and the field of UI, UX, and product design to learn from each other and grow a community of like minded people together and create an impact together. Let's build a strong community of creative and passionate people now, open to everyone interested in learning more about Figma, advanced practitioners, aspiring designers, and developers, and creatives of all types. And the rules for the 2 days virtual meetups events are recorded by attending your grant consent, engage via the chat. We will give you an opportunity to ask questions. Keep promotional links in the networking sheet. Connect with each other through the networking sheet. Uh, to connect with people of like-minded people is the most important thing. This is the way you can learn from each other and collaborate to create an impact together. So let's start. Have fun and be respectful to each other. I will just give you a quickly overview of our previous meetups. Like our first meetup was about a practical approach to improve your design processes by our great speaker and amazing personality Ahmed Abdul Rauf, and we have many more meetups. Here you can see the slide. So this is also a part of that series, and these are the our guests who hosted and talked about different topics. And last but not the least, thanks to Muhammad Ali and Muhammad Azhar for taking this initiative and building a community that surrounds around Friends of Figma. Thank you. Now I will like to host Batool Aamir. Let me just give you a brief intro of Batool Aamir. She is the founder of Oval NFTs, and she is really an inspiring personality for all of us. When I was just reading her bio, I just came to know that she has been awarded the award for the entrepreneurship efforts by the Entrepreneurs Organizers and Unilever for her entrepreneurship skills and the innovations she are doing. And let me tell you more about the Oval NFT. Oval NFT is the Web3 blockchain startup helping brands, artists, and businesses to navigate the waters of NFTs, Web 3.0, and the Metaverse. Now, over to you, Batul Amir. Welcome to Friends of Figma, and I would be very happy to host you here. And we will ask you a few questions that most of the people are interested to listen from you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, Athar, for introducing me and for saying about me. I'll share my screen if the option is available. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Batool Aamir and I'm the founder of Oval NFT. So a bit about me. So I'm the founder of Oval NFT, and Oval NFT is a Web3 blockchain startup. So Oval NFT is a Web3 blockchain startup, and we are helping brands, businesses, governments to navigate the waters of Metaverse, NFTs, and Web3. And I'm the founder and CEO of Oval NFT, and I have been associated with some of the companies which are listed over here. I've been a speaker at Google, US Consulate, Binance, and I've been awarded the Entrepreneurs Organization and the most innovative startup by Unilever. And I've also been featured in International Trade Center and Express Tribune. So that was a bit about me. And so for this session, I would like to first go on to something that's more asked about, that what is Web3 and what it means about to be in Web3 space and all. So without any further ado, we would dive straight into Web3. So I think Web3 basically captures a category of new things going on. So Web 2 is what captured social media. So before we called them social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they were called they were like called Web 2 sites because it was like the web was growing up. So, but this is Web3, which is kind of interesting because the blockchain is not the internet, but we're calling it Web3. And what Web3 is, it's capturing the blockchain. It's like capturing this concept called the Metaverse, and which is like Oculus and things of that nature, where you live in virtual reality. In practical terms, I think what it is that it's like owning something digitally, and its most simplistic thing, you own something digitally, is that you have a proof of ownership, and that's what Web3 makes it easier for all of us. So now the reason people struggle with that is that the thing that you can't own anything digitally on the internet. People can go and right click and save an image, and then they say that I have it on my phone, and you think that you can own it, but you don't own that piece. Whereas in Web3, the blockchain allows you to own it. Now, in simpler terms, if I try to explain it, what I just said is that you can go on the internet and just say that, okay, if I like this image, like this image that's on your screen right now, you can just screenshot it and you can save it, and you can say that I own this piece of image. But you don't really own that piece of image, because you've just saved it on your desktop. That doesn't mean that you own it. But in Web3, you can actually own digital assets that can be in the form of art, that can be in the form of anything. There are several NFTs that are coming in: music NFTs, fashion NFTs, art. So they are like pieces of digital assets that you can actually own. And on blockchain, there is a proof of ownership that you can show it to anyone, that you are the original owner of it. So moving on. So over the last few decades, the internet has evolved from a search engine or a niche, something that you use for searching something, or as a search tool, to an essential part of our daily lives. Literally, we cannot imagine anything without internet these days. But despite the technology's massive progress, it's become too centralized. Now, what centralizes that it's something that is owned by one organization or one person. So like the internet is central, the social medias are centralized. Like we use Facebook, it's centralized, it's owned by someone. You cannot own anything on it. Now what decentralized it is that the power is given to everyone, to the using it. Now with the power within of everything is very much concentrated in the hands of a few big tech companies. And Web3 is basically a movement in tech that calls for the creation of a decentralized blockchain being a key one. So in blockchain, if you own something, let's say if you own an NFT, anyone can go and see that you own an NFT. So that's decentralized because the power is in the hands of the people. So yeah, so Web3 is really like sort of an alternative vision of the web, where the services that we use are not hosted by a single service provider. So similarly, moving on, this is what Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3 are. So to understand deeper and where it's coming from, it's important to take a bit deeper look at the history of the internet. So during the 90s and early 2000s, websites were mostly static images and static pages that we used to browse on, and where you could consume pieces of information, and it was much harder to produce content of your own. More informational, and where users just get to do the basic interaction, reading about things, sending basic emails. That this period has been You can see Yahoo, Google, Internet Explorer. That's only read only. You can only consume that information. You can do the basic things. That's what Web 1 era was in the 90s and early 2000s. So with the advent of Web 2 in the early mid 2000s, we were introduced to applications like Facebook, like Twitter, YouTube, and these sites were more interactive, which were allowing users to post their own material and engage in online discussions about everything. So this where you could participate, socialize, you could engage, and it was more interactive. Examples are given like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp. All these are the a part of Web 2 where it is centralized, but it is a bit like a step forward. It's more interactive. It's just, you're not just consuming information, you are also putting out content, you are also engaging with your audience, you can socialize, you can chat with your friends, and that's what Web 2 brings in. While Web 2 is a more user friendly online experience, there were a few significant drawbacks. Like, there are a lot of advantages of Web 2. It was more user friendly, it was more interactive, more engaging, but of course, it brought about a few drawbacks that are being solved in Web 3. So, right now, if you see that we have big organizations who are controlling your data and providing you services that use your data. So when you're using a service, if the service is free, basically you are the product, right? Your information is being used. So those organizations are having a lot of insight on you, on your life, etc. That, to some extent, I think, is a level of freedom that you're giving away. And because the more of those institutions know about you, the better they can sell you ads. Like we see, it's no more a secret that when you are browsing your internet and you're just searching up something, you search for some shoes, for clothes or anything, you see ads popping up on Facebook or on these sites of Web 2. And that's no coincidence. That's because they're using your data and they're selling your data to companies. And because of that, they're generating such ads that are more user, like that are more something that you want, something that you have been searching for. So that's how Web 2 has a certain drawback, because it's, of course, using some sort of your freedom. You cannot have something that's entirely up to you. That there is certain drawback in that. And these large companies like Facebook and Google, they are controlling your data, so there is this drawback. So how does Web3 promise to change all that? So Web3 is basically an evolution of the internet, going to a place where the internet is would be less centralized. So the idea of Web3 is to decentralize the data. So not a single organization will have full control of your data. Like in Facebook, there is a single entity that owns all of your data. In Web3, there is a decentralized system. And so that will provide you more freedom because you don't need to trust a single organization. In Web 2, your data and content are managed by centralized platforms, and Web 3 aims to flip this model on its head. So ownership of virtual items, from social media avatars to songs, would be placed in the hands of users through non-fungible tokens, which are NFTs. So, so I think that Web3 really has to do with ownership and the idea about community empowerment and complete transparency. So Web3 has a lot to do about like the freedom that you get, about owning things, about ownership, about transparency. There are, like in Facebook, you can see that if you forget your password, you can always go and change your password. Why? Because it's decentralized. Someone owns Facebook, and there are a lot of people who are working in it, and they can, if you forget your password, you can always go and click forgot password, and you can always go and give in your email, your number, and you can always recover your password. Why? Because the power is not in your hands, the power is in someone else's hand, who has, okay, you are a user, you can get your account back. But in Web3, when you have the power of owning everything, when it's decentralized, there comes huge responsibility with that power. So in Web3, when you have your seed phrases, which are like your passwords, and if you forget your password, your seed phrases, you cannot recover your account. So there is this thing that there is huge responsibility with that power. But along with that, there are like a huge like very much of advantages, that there is no a single company that is using your data, there is no single company that is in charge of all of this, and that's what Web3 brings in for you. So moving on, so I found this very interesting. I saw this on Twitter and I took a screenshot, and I thought that I would share this with you all, because I think most of the audience is like designers, and I think that you can read it. So it says that two recent Web3 jobs I've posted and number of applicants: community manager 200 and graphic designers only 2. That's super interesting. So you see, that's the kind of opportunity that Web3 has for you guys right now. Because Web3 is an evolving technology right now, you have a lot of advantage over it. Designers and developers who are right now, they have a lot of advantage. They can step in, they can bring in their knowledge from Web2, and they can learn a few more things about Web3, and they can implement it in a much better way. And that can bring a lot of opportunity for you guys as designers, because there are a lot of people who are like involved in Web3 community managing and tech side and stuff of that nature. There is a huge gap of designing in Web3, and and the reason I say this is, you guys are designers, and I think that you should go and you should search where the thing is lacking, and you should take this opportunity and avail it, because you guys are designers and you can step into Web3 and have a lot of opportunity out, and you can avail that opportunity which is there right now. So okay, so Web3 design. So I think that Web3 will have a huge influence on the internet, right? Removing the need for third party institutions in most circumstances. I think that this is significant, because currently the web is governed by a few firms that control how value is transmitted throughout the world. So this results in leaving a lot of power in the hands of a few to control information access, data harvesting, and hacking. Uh, hacking. Sorry, I think my right. Are we on the? Yeah, we are on the right slide, right? So what I was saying is that while Web 2 is democratized many power structures and created new opportunities, the economic engine is largely privatized. And like Facebook, Uber, Twitter, they all have created private networks for public infrastructure, which they dominate. So now you may have missed the slide says that you may have missed the early days of Web 2 and the development of the internet, but here is your chance to participate in shaping the Web 3's future. So as I said in the earlier slide, that there is like a lot of gap in having, because we do not have enough designers, developers, people on the tech side right now. So I think there is a huge opportunity for people like designers who can come up and avail this opportunity right now and create new products, create new designs, and have this whole chunk of Web3 right now. So to achieve widespread acceptance of the Web3's vision, solutions must be user-friendly. This is where designers come in, and collaborating with technical teams to guarantee that these structures are accessible and usable to all users. So like early adopters were like Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon. They all realized the possibilities before the rest of the world and developed infrastructure that enabled broad adoption, right? So they benefited from the most. They were the ones who benefited the most from Web 2. So just like that, the financial incentives of Web3 design roles are enormous, I think. And due to the shortage of Web3 talent, there is a wide gap over here. and you may have missed the early days of internet, the early days of web 2, but the development of but there is like a huge a very enormous chance for you to participate in shaping the web 3's future. Okay, so talking a bit about web 3 design, I think that you all are aware of what is needed, but I quickly go through a little about designing in Web3. And so, like, shapes and other design elements have an impact on website, app design due to minimalism and aesthetics, right? So, design elements also help to bind everything together and ensure a consistent user experience and smooth flow. So the following are some of the reasons why UX designers and the usage of illustrations are important in Web3. So getting visitors' attention. I think that visitors' attention is drawn to visual aspects which encourage them to explore a website or app further, right? So users like the colors, the designs, the shapes, and number two, it simplifies complicated elements. So traditionally, UX designers relied on headlines to communicate the goods or services provided by a website or app. So, however, nowadays illustrations perform most of the heavy lifting. As a result, a full illustration collection can be based on product characterizations and offerings. And number three is unique visual character. So what I mean by this is because two brands are difficult to express their individuality. So, and that's where UI UX design comes in. So, visuals can help brands portray a distinct personality that sets them apart from the competition, like colors, geometric forms, navigation buttons, and pictures. These are all used consistently. Number four is brand image. So brands can employ illustration styles to establish a positive image among their target audience. And illustrations can also be used to highlight a company's strengths, ideas, and traits. So brand image is not all about copywriting, contrary to popular opinion. Instead, design and content work together to establish a website or app's brand image. So in Right. So, at last, I about this, I would just like to say that designers must make Web3 apps more consistent and easy in order for Web3 to gain popularity and spread beyond digital wallets and financial platforms. And for the designers, there is one thing that you can do is make Web3 products and Web3 designs more user friendly, more accessible, more easy to use. That's what's needed right now in Web3. And similarly, they must also, I think, provide easier user education and enable newcomers to become acquainted with Web3 and also the platform's revolutionary features, because design serves an integral role in the whole of the user experience, of course. So this is all in its very early stage right now, and we are not just focusing very much on the user experience uh, because there are a lot of experimentations that are being done on the technical aspects of it and seeing what works, what does not work. So there is a lot of chance right now for you to experiment and see what's working for the users and what's not working. And in other words, I would say that developers have laid the foundation, and now it's designers' turn to really make Web3 accessible and usable to everyone. And that's all from my side. Over to Mohammad Ali Tariq and Athar. So, Athar, do you have any remarks on designing on Web3? Because you also working in Web3, and I saw that you are also a part of all this.
Thank you so much, Batool. I think Athar has unmuted right
Yeah, I
now.
think he has disconnected. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Batool Aamir. Nice to meet you here and listen you. Now I would like to encourage all the participants to ask the questions. related to Web3, NFT, Metaverse, or whatever they want to ask from you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I see someone wrote that how can I shape I see that I'm an early learner in design, but how can I shape my career in Web3 design? It's simple. You can just go and Google it because it's Web3 is in its early stages. So there is a huge chance for you right now to yeah, so there is a huge chance for you right now to go and search, go and see where your expertise are needed. If you are a designer, I am assuming, so you can go up and search what blockchain products are being made, what work is being done in Web3, and you can see where your expertise can be used. So if you're a designer, you can go and of course you can work with people who are already working in this right now, and you can also take help from people who are already designers in this space or who have already seen the waters and tested the waters. So I think that's crucial for you to do your own research right now, because it's, as I said, it's very early. So you can also do your research, but also be aware of the fact that you will have a lot of things that might work and something that might not work. So keep that in mind, and best of luck for your career in Web3. Okay. Okay, so I see.
Just, I just have a question to ask from you.
Sure.
What type of user interfaces will be popular in Web 3.0? And there was one more question I would be very curious to know. How do you think Web 3.0 will impact our lives?
Okay, so Web3 can impact your life in ways that you cannot imagine right now, because it's really the next step of the internet, or not exactly the internet, but the evolution of internet, right? So when internet came in, we didn't know, okay, it's just a search engine, or would it be something more than that? So 20 years ago it was just a search engine, but now you can literally order your food, your ride, or anything from it. You can literally, we're having this call right now through internet, right? So that's the evolution and the journey it has been through. And similarly, it was web 1, so it's now web 3 right now. So in the web 3 right now, we can see that it is being used for verifying the ownership of documents, like car ownership documents, property ownership documents, or anything that needs to be verified on blockchain. So that's what is being what web3 is being used for right now. But I think that through the years, if we see 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, there will be a lot of innovation that would be coming in, and a lot of things that we are not aware of right now that would be developing, because there are a lot of companies like the early movers who are working in this space right now, and they will create something that will go on to live forever, and we'll see how this will shape the future. But for right now, we are using it for verifying documents and for proof of ownership of documents right now. Similarly, I see a question here that how should we look out for, okay, there is
We have we have a very interesting
hiring for
question from my.
Web3 roles. Can I just answer this question one right now? So it's written that how can we look for roles in Web3 right now? So I think, as I replied to the earlier question, I think that you need to just go out there. You can go on Google, Twitter, Discord. All these are networks of where Web3 people are. Okay, so Twitter, Discord, these are main places where these people are. You can just go and search for projects that are going on, NFT projects, all these people who are working on products regarding blockchain. You can send in your expertise wherever uh, your expertise are, and then you can see if you can work or you can learn something new. And that's how I think you can shape your, as he said, that how can we look for roles. So I think that's how you can look for roles in this department.
I'm very glad to see from people from other countries like Jatvinder Singh from India, Punjab. Here I have a very
Yeah.
interesting question from one of our audience, Abdullah. Abdullah just says, agency having 10 resources. Would you mind to share any useful resources for NFT creation for my design team? Any recommendations? Thank you.
Right. So, Abdullah, I think that there are a lot of resources, especially for NFT creation. NFTs have been around for a year now, for more than a year now. So, I think that if you are asking for how to create an NFT, I think you can just go and search on Google, and it's simple as anything can be. It's very simple. And if agency having 10 resources, useful resources for NFT creation, right? So I do not have something right now that I can instantly share any link or something, but I can assure you that if you just go and write how you can create an NFT, there are a million videos that will come up, and it's super easy. And if you find any problems in doing so, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn, and I can always help you out in that. But I think that it's super easy, and internet a has a lot that it can offer to you regarding NFT creation, because it's been there for a while, and there is a lot of content that's been made in that regard. Okay, similarly, I saw another question that says that about the Web3 design guides. Right. So I've seen that there are a lot of useful design guides on Twitter, especially. So I would recommend that go onto Twitter and be a part of these communities who are into Web3 design. Especially, there are a lot of these new Twitter spaces that are coming up, and I've seen dedicated groups who are working on, especially on Web3 design, and spaces that are talking about how to navigate the waters of Web3 design. So I think that would be really helpful for you if you go on Twitter and search about Web3 design. There are a lot of communities that might be really helpful for you. Okay, so is there any other question, Athar, or we can just wrap it up then?
Okay, we have one more question. Uh, what would be the main difference working as a UX designer in Web 2.0 and Web 3.0? And there's one more addition to it. What are the some examples of the new features we can just expect from Web 3.0? Is any some kind of interesting features that we just can't even imagine now and we can expect to see in the future?
Right, yeah. First question was about the feature. Okay, right. So I think that Web3 has a lot to offer, and there are a lot of features that are different from Web 2.0, of course. So as I said, that Web 2 was largely centralized. The power dynamics, the power was in the hands of certain organizations or certain people who who controlled all the users, and they had all the power, and the users did not had any power. So in Web3, the main basic feature that's very different from Web 2 is that the power is in the hands of users. Now you can own anything. If you have an NFT, you are the owner of it, and you are the only owner of it. So there's not this thing that someone owns it or someone can control it. You are the owner of it. You have all the ownership of it, and you can also control who you choose to sell it to or what you choose to do with it. So that's, I think, the main difference with the dynamics of power in Web 2 and Web 3. Yeah, hope that answers your.
Uh, Thank you so much, Batool Aamir, for today's session. It was really very nice and amazing. And I'm just very excited and glad to hear all of you, the like-minded people here. And I would love to connect with all of you. Now I'm just going to start the room. Three people will be in each room. So you all guys are encouraged to connect and interact with each other, build, do some humanly interaction and build your connections so that you guys may can collaborate in future and can have some projects together. So let me create the room for all of you. Thank you so much. It will be for the 10 minutes. So we just have to find a place.